everybody. Happy Thursday, almost Friday. Thank you so much for joining our session today. Really excited to unpack a lot of good stuff with you today on the ultimate growth strategy across socials, TikTok and Facebook and all the other channels. So let us go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so to keep things rolling, today you're going to leave with a clear system on turning those social engagement into leads and a framework to set those goals and plan to scale on what works. And then in today's session is really not about chasing likes, right? Today's session is going to cover about building a system that actually delivers leads and activities outside of social platforms. So, but before we begin, I always love starting out these sessions with just learning where everybody's tuning in from and testing out the question box. So I would love everybody to type in the question box, where are you coming in from? And I love reading off because we ended up being so spread out across the US and even sometimes out of the US, but it's really great to know that we're all coming together and to improve our social media strategy, actually convert into real results, you know? So let me read out some of these responses here. Okay, looks like we got Texas, Tennessee, Florida, hello, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, hey, I'm a Louisiana native, West Palm Beach, Amarillo, Texas, Kansas, New Jersey, Cali, Delaware, Dallas, Texas, hi, I'm also in Texas, well, Frisco, but South Carolina, Ohio, I lived there for 5 years. New York, I was waiting on a New York. Oh, this is so great. We are everywhere coming together. Another LA, California, Jacksonville, Florida, Arizona, Georgia. I got lots of family in there. Oh, this is awesome. Well, guys, thank you. I wish I could call every one of you, but, you know, we've got really good stuff to uncover. I'm very excited to share with you today. So we're going to get the ball rolling. So a few just takeaway notes while we kick off this session. For everyone on this call today, please note that this is going to be recorded and you don't have to worry about taking notes. All of the materials that I present on, including my notes and everything in the slide deck, will be sent directly to your inbox. Also, this will be recorded and posted onto Local IQ and WordStream's YouTube channel. So if you want to navigate there and catch a recap on any of what we covered today, it is there for you. Also, another reason to submit some, also another note to take is I would love for you guys to just keep engaging with me throughout the session. Any questions that you have, I want to know them. I can't wait to answer them. But we will have a live Q&A at the end where I will focus on any questions that you have at the end of it. But please, I would love for you guys to chat and engage throughout the entire session. So, little introduction. Let's go and stay on track of what Local IQ is. So, Local IQ is how businesses like yours attract and retain the ideal customers. So we get you in the inside track with an AI marketing platform that has a full suite of marketing solutions, that has vertical specific data from over 5 million historical campaigns, and we get what's right for you. So the personalized approach from our experts and who know your industry and your local market. And then we take you a step ahead with lead management and automation, and just to keep you growing faster in the follow-up and conversions. One thing we are very proud of is that we are a premier partner with all of the major marketing platforms. And this isn't something that we take for granted. You know, there is rigorous requirements that we have to meet in order to, you know, become a thought leadership in the space, and also these beautiful awards that you see here from our awesome experts and our team. We're very, very proud. So now, introduction, a little bit about me. My name is Alexandra Howard. I am the brand manager of Local IQ. I come to you today with almost 10 years of experience in the digital marketing and brand management space, and I have my master's in executive management. I am based out of Dallas, Texas, and social, if you guys have tuned into our sessions before, you probably have seen me talk all things social. It's my favorite. I have actually been dealing with social for over 10 years. That was actually my first job in the marketing space whenever I was getting my degree. Was a social internship. I dabbled in sales after that, graphic design. I even had my own marketing agency at one point, and I even ran paid ads. I ran a team for paid specialists. So been all over the place, wearing many hats as marketers do. So very excited to have you all here today, and I would love to stay connected with you too. So if you want to add me on LinkedIn to connect with me after, cover anything that I presented on today, I would love to. And also be sure to connect with Local IQ, WordStream, and USA Today Network across all social channels. We are on every single major platform. So now let's talk about the agenda today. So I'm going to kick off with covering the top 3 mistakes that we're seeing in social media strategies. And then I'm going to walk through on how organic and paid can actually work together for the best lead generation strategy using social. Then we'll go over our step-by-step growth strategy, and then my top tips and takeaways, and then live Q&A. But first, if you've joined our sessions in the past, you already know I love keeping you on your toes with pop quizzes. Would love to hear from you in the question box. Which metric do you check first when you post something on social media, an organic post? When you look at the performance and reporting, right? Are you looking at likes? Are you looking at comments? Are you looking at link clicks if it was a link click post? Are you looking at website traffic? Did you get any sales or like form fills? I would love to know the metric that you check after posting to let you know, okay, is this valuable to us, or how did we do here for performance? And I'm looking in the chat now. Number of shares, engagement, yes. Likes, okay. Yep, engagement. Number of shares is critical. That way your reach is growing, your views are growing. Okay, likes, okay. So then we're looking at reactions, okay? Majority, website traffic, there we go. Form fills, yes. Anything that's tying to revenue, of course. But it's important to have tracking set up to be able to actually report on that. Form fills and calls. Calls, yes. So conversions, yes. All right, well, that sets us up for perfectly to cover our first mistake that we often see in these social lead strategies, being 64% actually say that social is the top traffic source for their website traffic. But as we continue to have conversations with these businesses, we have come to find that like far few can trace it back to revenue. So that first problem being posting really it's not a strategy. And not because businesses aren't working hard, and it's because social is loud and there's a constant advice, constant updates, there's constantly new features. It's easy to confuse motion with progress. And so random posting without, outlining an outcome, right, or a clear offer, or that conversion path, or amplification path that can help you boost and increase your reach, you invest time, you invest money, resources without purpose. And social's loud, like I said. And so, especially when you see influencers, encouraging businesses, post every day, and to catch the momentum from the algorithm for more views. A view and a lead hold significant different values, right? Which brings me to mistake number 2. Attention does not equal pipeline. This is the bridge most businesses miss. And engagement, I say that because engagement feels good, right? But engagement alone doesn't grow a business. So every piece of content should answer what happens next. A call, a booking, a download, a scheduling an appointment. Without a path to action, attention stays in the platform. And attention must connect to action in order for you to actually see real results and growth from social. Now let's break it down. So there's a difference between results in platform, and then bringing those results outside of platform. And this is where it's broken down by those metrics and why I asked you guys what you look at first to judge performance. So for vanity metrics, this is what stays in platform. So likes, your followers, your reach, versus business metrics. You're going to look at lead numbers. You're going to look at the cost per lead, that the ads that you boosted, right? And obviously, everybody's favorite and purpose, revenue to a business. And so now if we are really trying to focus on creating social media to be a lead generation machine, you need a system. Which brings us to mistake number 3 on the top of the list. We see social strategies, if you want engagement, they separate organic and paid tactics, and they shouldn't be separated. So it should be all one. If getting traffic from social, that's the easy part, to be honest with you. And turning that into consistent leads is where most businesses get stuck. And the problem is that organic and paid, like being run separately when they should be working as one. And I am happy to break it down to a easy peasy way to understand how they work both seamlessly together. In our next section, so I'm going to break it down, how organic and paid social work together for lead gen results. So let's storytell this. Let's slow down for a little bit. So how social actually drives leads is organic, first, is owning and promoting who you are. It is brand positioning. It is setting the tone, your consistency, right? And so engagement, though, plays both sides of those vanity metrics, inside platform, and then business metrics, what happens outside of that platform. So engagement plays both sides. Organic engagement validates the value that you provide and the effectiveness to authentically connect with your audience. And engagement also plays and also validates who is resonating with your brand to retarget and to keep prospects engaged and nurture them. And then after that, that's when your paid comes into play and it scales, and measure refines your strategy. And one thing we see constantly is that those optimization efforts they concentrate all at the end of the funnel, right? Because bottom line, it's just like, okay, whatever we do to get leads. But so businesses spend time, right, analyzing those metrics like conversion rate, tweaking the landing pages, improving lead handling, which is all extremely important and very critical, right? But it matters because they only impact traffic that you actually receive, okay? And so what often is missing is a system that, including that top of funnel, that factors determining whether or not that potential customer even made it to your landing page, to your website, or ultimately converted into a lead. The top advertisers optimize from the top. And that's where organic really comes into play and is very valuable and critical to that streamlined flow that plays and helps you with your paid as well. So here's an example of how organic social nurtures your leads. And with organic playing this part, it's going to end up saving you ad dollars, right? Because while this is working for you on organic side, yes, you're going to still need that paid to scale, but it really contributes and will end up saving costs overall. So looking at it this way, this example of how it goes from warm to a hot lead. Most marketing leads aren't ready to buy. That's just hard truth. And they've raised their hand for value, right? Not sales. And you're building trust through helpful, relevant content. And you're building trust with the emails and the newsletters and personalized content. And you're addressing specific interests in pain points. And so in this example here, let's say that a user engages a piece of your organic content. Let's say it's a guide, okay? And then you're going to say, oh, that's a signal. So they like that. We should provide more of that because they found it valuable. So here's another guide. And then once you see them continuously engaging and you have captured their value, right, for that interest, then you can start to build trust and providing proof and the value beyond just your social engagement and this useful content, right? Talking about business or product that you provide. And so then you could say, hey, check out this case study that has proof points, real examples and results of what your business has done for customers. And then testimonials. And so as they begin to see this trust content, then they're going to say, oh, okay, you know, I'm going to book a business. Let's see what they're about. Like book a demo, schedule an appointment. Let's see what they're about. It's all about that nurturing sequence that really provides value in that lead generation strategy of social. So let's go over quickly of my top takeaways from this section. Organic builds signals, not scale. So organic social has a very specific job. It builds familiarity, it builds credibility, it builds trust. When someone sees your brand consistently show up with helpful content, that matters. And if organic feels slow, that's normal. Its job is trust. It's not instant lead volume. And organic, it builds that foundation. And it's where you test what deserves paid budget. Second takeaway, paid is your scale. So paid turns attention into leads. Paid accelerates what organic started. And it expands reach beyond your current followers and creates lookalike audiences to engage people or businesses like your ideal customer. It allows targeting new audience and retargeting users that already engage with your content and nurture for sales. It drives traffic and it captures leads. And the important part, paid works best when there's already trust in place. Organic builds that confidence. Paid builds that momentum. And if growth feels stalled, the solution might not be to post more, right? It might be the strategic paid amplification that's needed and going to deliver long run or in short run, better results for you overall. And last big takeaway, before we talk about content and ads and platforms, you know, we have to ask, what does growth mean for you? More qualified leads? Is it booking appointments? Higher repeat customers? Kind of how you guys were engaging in things, form fills, all of this. You know, you have to define that growth first because that growth goal, it will guide your best decisions. Pop quiz before we roll on into the best part of this webinar. I would like to know what your growth goal for it or for social is. What is your growth goal for using social? If you could just chime in the question box, I'll read off some of the answers. It's a really good tee up to what this next section is for. Okay, looks like we got website traffic, lead gen, sign-ups for newsletters, okay, scheduling appointments, increase sales, lead gen, lead generation, increase product sales, build authority in our industry. That's a good one. That's a really good growth goal. That's a great growth goal. Lead gen, traffic, signups. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. A couple more website traffic coming in. Okay, grow your social following. You guys are providing really good stuff. Okay. Ooh, and then signups or registrations for events. That's a good one. Obviously, because everybody's going to social to find events or what their friends are doing, and so that's a great platform for that. Okay, I wish I could call out every single one of you. Okay, but these responses are like, they make me really excited though. They make me really excited to break down how you're going to achieve the growth goal that you're sending in this question box. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. I've got 7 steps on how you can achieve that growth goal that you guys are calling out. And I want to start by just kind of breaking it down from the very top. Don't start by asking, what should we post? Instead, ask, what are we trying to grow? It's such a more intentional approach to our introduction, identifying those growth opportunities. It's following the signals, not guesses, okay? So where is growth already happening? You know, looking at those engagements, those metrics that we called out about, you know, is it the engagement icons, the likes, comments, saves, reposts? Is it content clicks, the website visits, all pointing towards growth opportunity, okay? So it's those signals, following those signals and not guesses, where you begin to identify where you're trying to grow, really. And so engagement, that shows interest. Traffic shows intent. And patterns show where to invest. Step 2, creating your SMART lead goals. So, for truth, most social strategies fail before the ad ever runs because the goal, the offer, the conversion path were never clear. And so your second step is to create the SMART goals that are specific and measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And so here's an example of a broken down SMART goal. Generate 60 qualified leads, okay, per month on Facebook and TikTok at this price for CPL within 90 days. That is how going into a social lead strategy and setting those goals is very intentional, it's very focused, and it will keep you on track. That way, all the trends, all the noise doesn't distract you or derail you from your true growth goal. Step 3, mapping your buyer personas. So best practice is to start pulling out, like, who's your ideal customer? So, and mapping these to your social, which platforms do each of these personas spend time on? What type of content does your persona engage with? Look at your competitors' social media, you know, and see what their content is, their most liked content, or what's going viral. So, and look at your followers on each of these platforms and figure out patterns, okay? So, do the people following your account have similar jobs? What about their location? What about maybe education? So this step helps you hone in on your target audience, but also develop your buyer personas for content creation as well. So it links back to time saved and intention being spent well organically and spending, you know, developing content one, but then also you're focusing on the buyer intention at the end, right? So you're nurturing both full funnel. Step 4. This one shouldn't be super hard though, since, you know, it shouldn't be so hard because we defined those growth goals, which already have an assigned timeline goal to achieve, right? But by breaking larger goals down into smaller tasks, it can make it feel more achievable and like more organized to keep you and your team on track to reach them. Pop quiz. I love keeping you guys on my toes. So, pop quiz, type in the question box. I would like to know what social channel you would like to grow this year. What social channel would you like to grow this year? And I will call out some of the responses to bring us all together in the conversation. All right, let's see what we got here. We've got TikTok, Instagram, IG, TikTok and Facebook. I'm still waiting on a YouTube. There it is. Instagram, views on YouTube, not necessarily subscribers. I like that. I like that goal. I like that a lot. That's very Instagram, Facebook, Instagram. So we got Meta platforms. Seeing a lot of TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. Still seeing a lot of TikTok come through, which, okay, it is one of the fastest growing platforms. YouTube, okay. I mean, again, these are all great channels to grow on and capture new customers on. But now that brings to the next step, and it's so like super, super important in thinking of which channel to grow from is, you know, you gotta reflect on the resources and determine what you're able to invest. And as you think about how you're gonna do this, how you're gonna execute, growing in this new platform or executing this growth goal, right? So team and talent. Do you have the internal team to support your goals, or should you look externally for a partner to help you out? Tools and services. This includes running your ads, scheduling out organic posts, developing creative and the copy for these posts, and optimizing through SEO because, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys have seen the SERP, but all of the social media content is now popping up in Google right now. You see, especially Reels from Instagram and TikTok. You see even Reddit, of course, is always at the top of the SERP. So optimizing for SEO is absolutely critical in a strategy. And then measuring that success, reporting interfaces. So you've got to really, really break it down and think about truly what this like resources and investment and reflection. But something that's often forgotten is budgeting time. Make sure that you're also budgeting you and your team's time, because this is the most important thing to budget. Your time is the most valuable commodity that you have, and it's likely short supply. Let's be real, we're running a business, and time is money. So do not forget to allocate that when you're reflecting on resources and identifying this in your growth goals and just where you want to grow in a new channel or whatever it may be. Which brings us to step number 6. Define how you're going to measure growth. And one of the most critical steps, for sure. So, and okay, honestly, this is where AI is a great tool to help analyze social media reporting, because AI can aggregate your data, right? So you upload your information to an AI platform like LocalIQ, and to understand what types of social posts perform best for your business, or suggest the best time to post and get the most reach, or, you know, it tells you what time your audience is online so you can capture the most engagement. And it identifies patterns with those engagements, right? The best performing channel and the follower demographics. There's so much that goes into that reporting and measurement that will be your North Star and guiding you in these goals and just being intentional in that and resource investment, you know? And also kind of a PSA. Always remember that AI is not foolproof, so you're going to still need to examine the data yourself, because only you best know the various variables that could impact the numbers and what those numbers mean. So AI is a tool, but it's not like a tradesmith. So it's always good for you to have your own eyes on your data, or the eyes of another expert on this information, so you can truly know the best decision on what to take next. Step 7. Last step, refine and optimize. So if something consumes time or budget without contributing to growth, it deserves to be reconsidered. So stop what doesn't give growth and scale what does. And so that means refining your creative. That means audience targeting and testing, your budget shifting, and your offer. And so refining and optimizing these is a great next step or last step in just overall your growth strategy, to make sure that momentum keeps building and that consistency keeps flowing. So now let's talk about tips and key takeaways. Okay, When we asked businesses which ad channels and tactics they were using, guess what made it to the top of the results? Organic social, followed by paid social ads. So here is a proof point that they work in unison. So in that next one, growth doesn't come from doing everything. So you got to focus on what works. So this is the part people appreciate. You don't need every trend. You don't need every platform. You don't need daily content if it's not converting. Growth doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from focusing on what works. In that saying, settle on your core channels. So to optimize your social media strategy, identifying the platforms where your brand will be most active. Focus on those by considering the follower count, what's your competitors' activity look like, where your target audience spends the most of their time. And once you've identified the primary channel, you can turn your attention to then setting the schedule, brainstorming content. In other words, create your content calendar. And to also help narrow down these channels, we also asked them what social media does. We also asked some of our business participants in a survey which channels that they were using for marketing. And to help narrow those down, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. YouTube came at 4th, and then TikTok at 5th. But what I would like to point out here, TikTok is the fastest growing platform. And so that's what I found incredibly interesting when you guys were chiming in that chat was, and a lot of you were calling out TikTok. It is the fastest growing platform. And, you know, just out of curiosity, I'd like to know, just simple yes or no in the question box, is your business active on TikTok right now? Or is that just a goal that you want to achieve if you're not already on it? Or do you just not really see the value in it for where your business is and what you offer, right? Depends on industry. But I will say a lot of SMBs are moving for organic and paid tactics because, as you can see, it's no longer just a dance trend platform. It's evolved into a full funnel discovery channel. Like, I read this crazy stat where there's like the percentage, there's like 80% of users that actually have a TikTok account don't even post. They actually just go there for a search engine, which I was like mind blown. So, and obviously with these results, 73% of these small businesses say that TikTok has connected them to new customers. And 85% of those users are more likely to discover products from TikTok. And users find TikTok ads entertaining. If you find an ad entertaining, that brings a lot of value to that platform. That's all I got to say, because a lot of us are so annoyed because with ads, you see them everywhere. Now, if 83% of the users actually find it entertaining and they're actually going to consume that paid ad, I think that's significant value. So just food for thought as we're reflecting back on those top channels that we found businesses are using for marketing. And next tip, engage your followers. This is really important. And so follow them back and like and comment, share their content as well. Go live and converse in real time. Ask for recommendations, post polls and questions. I think it's a very critical piece on, number one, just building, keeping that momentum going, especially contributing to that top of funnel part of the lead gen strategy. And big tip here. In this whole lead gen social strategy, removing the friction after the click is so critical, and not many people think about it, right? So the effectiveness of your ad is only as strong as what happens after that click, okay? So if a user is interested but has to hunt for a contact form or wait for a callback or figure out how to book a time with you, that momentum quickly disappears. Because we only have, I think it was 0.5 seconds to keep somebody actually interested and engaged with you. before they're going to go to a competitor or go search somewhere else, right? So most leads are lost after interest and not before. So slow follow-ups and that friction kills momentum. And that's why tools like automated booking and scheduling features like we offer are so powerful, because they remove that friction and they make it easy for someone to act immediately and without the back and forth, which often slows things down. Here I'm going to wrap up with the key takeaways of the overall presentation that I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm really looking forward to the live Q&A, so please stick with me to the end. So key takeaways: organic and plus paid equals lead gen strategy. If social were working for lead gen, you would know. Leads wouldn't feel sporadic or mysterious, right? Together, organic and paid tactics act as a unified system. And most leads, like I said, are lost after interest. And so that lack of follow-up and a connected system, across content, ads, follow-up, and measurement is your ideal structure to keep that consistent lead flow. So make sure that you guys keep it engaging with your audience as they engage with you, and make sure that you have a clear system that removes that friction. And lastly, if you don't have a clear growth target, you can't measure what's working. That is critical. And so, as a thank you for joining us also, we'd like to offer a free personal assessment to see what's holding back your social leads. This assessment replaces guessing with direction by identifying those gaps where leads are dropping off in your social strategy before you waste more money, more time, or boosting on a post that you're not even sure is actually best content to boost, right? So, no fuss, it's free, can only help you if you tap yes on the pop-up. And while you guys are answering that, I will roll into live Q&A. Also, wait, I'm looking back at the comments on if you're active on TikTok. Okay, I'm seeing like a 50-50 split. Not super active. Okay, but yes, active, need to post more. I feel it on a spiritual level, but again, I hope that this breakdown has helped you not feeling like you have to post more to keep up with the algorithm. It's all about that intention, right? And you actually know what's working. So, yeah, I'm ready for questions whenever you guys are. So please drop them in the chat. And I will read some of these. Let's go. Okay, how can we reach our followers on Facebook directly? For example, if we have 2,000 followers, how do we communicate directly to them? That's when I say your best approach here, that's your paid amplification. So if you really want to reach your ideal customers or who you want to build more of a following on, which then, think about this, if you build that following on your ideal customer or your ideal audience, then they're going to reshare content, which is more looking alike and spreading that reach with their followers and their friends. So I think the best way to how you can reach more followers and also more customers is paid amplification. Go back and look at your organic content. See what people are engaging with the most. Is it a certain type of product? Is it a certain guide? Is it on social media, or is it about how-to tips on home improvement? You've got to break it down by what was the key subject that provided them value, or was it something that was more humanized? So best approach, go back and see what is being engaging or generating the most engagement organically, then apply paid amplification. Rather, that's running paid social ads to then say, okay, you can then be intentional and say, we want this person in this location, this age, this job, whatever it may be, so that you're just going about it more intentionally on expanding that reach. and following. Okay, let me see. Is sharing testimonials actually effective, and does it just feel like stuffy, boring, desperate? No, I totally disagree with that. In fact, me and my friend were just talking about this. So she was trying to, she needed support with her lawn care, and so she goes on Facebook, and she immediately goes and looks through a couple of options she found on Google, and a lot of them were sharing, or no, there were two of them that were sharing these creatives that had a testimonial about the garden that they just built for them, and then how that they can always rely on them for, you know, I think twice a month cuts or something like that, with like from a testimonial. Both of them were doing it. One of them had no social proof at all on there. So immediately her interest went to the ones that actually showcase happy, satisfied customers. I mean, it just makes sense because you're proving, it's proof points, and that's building that trust, and you've got to show proof in order to gain trust. So no, I don't think sharing testimonials it's boring or stuffy, not at all. I actually think they're extremely effective, because in our world of social, especially when now a lot of it's AI generated, it's really hard to tell what's real. So with that kind of testimony is real, and I think that's what really matters nowadays. Great question. Okay, let me go through. You guys are asking great questions. Thank you. Okay. Oh, there's so many. Okay. What would be better, sharing Google reviews or video customer reviews? I think both in the same. Like, so yes, video content is right now trending as king. So that makes sense to capture customer reviews. That's great. And I think, I mean, to diversify your content is also a good thing. But also just, you know, repurposing a really good, solid review that you got on Google over to your social, why not? And that's expanding your authority beyond just social and beyond just Google, right? So when you are still sharing from another platform into social, you're expanding your authority, you're building your trust in multiple platforms. And so I don't think one or the other is better. I think diversified content is good. I think spreading the wealth in something that you should be proud of, which is your customer satisfaction, I don't think you can go wrong with either or. Let me take a few more. Goodness gracious. You guys are asking a lot. Thank you so much. Okay. Does the professional shot footage matter for content, or does it not matter? This is such a great question. Okay, so no, I don't. That's where I think a lot of businesses get intimidated about social content or creating their own user content, is what it's referred to. Like I said, social media is social, and it's meant to be authentic. Yes, we have influencers that are perfect and the quality is great, right? But also, we're also looking for real connection on there and to relate and resonate with people. So no, it doesn't have to be polished and perfect. I think coming forward as who you are and owning who you are, I think is more effective. Just coming human face on camera that's what's winning right now on social media, is that user-generated content. And like going back to my point where a lot of today's world is being AI generated, to see a real human, to actually feel like it's a human conversation and interaction, it doesn't have to be polished and pretty. Going live and just going on camera and talking about just something related or something of value that you think your customers do, sharing tips of people in the industry, or, you know, I mean, I definitely do not think it has to be polished at all. Well, I know it doesn't. It doesn't. So don't think you have to be perfect on social media content. That's advice for sure. I actually think that there was a few there was like a few stats or points from TikTok study that people actually preferred the more human, authentic content, like user-generated content, than they did this like really pretty corporate, learn about us and here's our brand like form of content. So really good question. Okay, I'm going to take one more, but you guys are asking great questions. Thank you. Let's do one more. Oh, they were working on a video testimonial by customers before the webinar today. That's awesome. Okay, let me see. Okay. Would you recommend boosting, if you're going to put, wait, let me back up. If you're going to put money towards social media strategy, would you recommend boosting or running a paid campaign? Really, really good question. Okay, so yes, both tactics you can go and include specific targeting, right? Demographics, you know, their age, location, and you can even, I think, retarget and, you know, so there's targeting tactics that look the same. But where I see the value in a actual campaign is just longevity, and there's way more options as far as just what that conversion path and user journey looks like. Because again, boosting, that's like a one-time, like one-off, like piece of content, right? You're only focusing on one. Campaign, you're able to see what headlines are more effective, which improves your content strategy overall. You're able to see what creative performs the best, which improves and saves you time on what you want to create more of. Then it also is going to, as far as performance goes, it's going to be more intentional as far as grabbing leads or website traffic. And the longer that you actually let that campaign run, the more it's going to deliver for you. So I am a big fan of campaigns versus just boosting a post. Okay, guys, thank you so much for all these amazing questions at the end. This was a great Q&A. I hope you have a great rest of your week, great weekend, and I will see you back here soon. Thank you.